Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. So I had some follow-up questions regarding Ken Paxton and his upcoming corruption trial in Texas. And with the biggest news being that Paxton's super PAC, the Defend Texas Liberty PAC, donated $1 million to Dan Patrick, who's the lieutenant governor, and provided a $2 million loan to Dan Patrick, the lieutenant governor. Now, mind you, Dan Patrick, the lieutenant governor, is the one who's going to be overseeing the impeachment trial of Ken Paxton. Can you say conflict of interest? I mean, good Lord, are there no ethic laws in Texas? Welcome to Texas, everyone. Holy smokes. How is this even possible? $3 million. With that timing, the arrogance is off the charts. Okay, so I gotta ask, entertainment purpose only, I gotta ask, was that, what else would it be? So, Ken Paxton, not Ken Paxton, Dan Patrick, is that the guy's name? After all that, Ken Paxton, Dan Patrick is Dan Patrick. Sorry, I was doubting myself because Dan Patrick was a former announcer for ESPN, and that's where I recognized the name. And I didn't want to say the wrong name because I'm thinking of, sports from the 90s type of thing. So Dan Patrick, what is going on with you? Oh, you're working, baby. You're working and making that money. Yeah, you had a bunch of money thrown at you. Now, ostensibly, that money was given because he had done a lot of hard work bringing conservatives into the Texas legislature, and he was being rewarded for that. Yeah, I don't doubt that, but that's not why he got paid. And crossed with the justice. Yeah, because, let's face it, he's getting a lot of money because he's going to be the judge on your trial, and you just bribed the judge in front of freaking everybody. And, this puts Dan Patrick in a really hard position because it's really obvious. If he rules to support Paxton, the screams and the howls of favoritism are going to be out there. Dear God. In the past, 4 of coins. Okay, so many different ways to interpret this. One would be Ken Paxton trying to keep all the information in and not let the information of his corruption out. Apparently, he's got pulled into a developer whose last name is Paul into his web, and that helped make a lot of money for Ken Paxton. I guess Paul, he just millions of dollars by being in conspiracy and corruption with this developer. And to me, this is Paxton trying to hold on to his wealth, trying to hold on to his power, and by giving money to the guy who's going to oversee his trial. Current situation. The 9 of Wands. So again, this is supposed to be a reading on Dan Patrick. Dan Patrick is, we have the 10 of Wands underneath it. We've got the 9 of Wands in his current situation. This donation made things really difficult on him. But I don't know why he took it. Then why did you take it? I wonder if it's kind of a blackmail thing. He's there's maybe, picture this. Oh God, I don't normally think this way. This is just absolute scoundrelness. Think that Ken Paxton has compromat on Dan Patrick. Okay? And instead of releasing the compromat, he instead overtly bribes him. And basically says, here's a bunch of money for everybody to see. Now you're going to acquit me. And if Dan Patrick acquits him, everybody's going to think that Dan Patrick is corrupt and has been bribed and took the money and then let Paxton off, or he doesn't, and then Paxton releases the blackmail on Dan Patrick, thus ruining his career either way. It's evil. I am not normally an evil thinker. That takes way too much energy, but that's like one possibility that would explain that card given the situation. King of Wands. So not only is he the judge, but he's the one who has to take action. We have all these actions, all these burdens that he has to. He's the one who has to make the decision as to what's going to happen. The way Dan Patrick is the one who makes the decision here. More wands, more action. The lesson to be learned is the victory, but a victory for who? Is it a victory for yourself? Is it a victory for Paxton? Is it a victory for the folks in Texas? Outcome is the Star. Does that mean Paxton? Well, if Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick can negotiate this and come out looking like a star at the end, that would be amazing. But remember, Texas is also the Lone Star state. So the star card just could be referencing the state of Texas and the outcome with it. Okay, so now I'm going to have to ask what the outcome is. So I'm a little confused. I really don't know what to make of this. I think Paxton was a fool for taking that money. Now, again, maybe he took that money because he truly believes that it was a reward for bringing more conservatives in, and he's a conservative star. That certainly could fit into that, but that's really naive thinking, certainly with the timing and everything else that's going on. It could be that there was an agreement beforehand that if he hit these accomplishments, Paxton would pay him, and Paxton went ahead and his PAC, his Political Action Committee, honored that. But man, oh man, the timing is awful. So I think actually, if I was reading it like that, it's a timing thing, and Patrick wanted the money. He earned it and he wanted it. It may have nothing to do with bribery whatsoever. But God, I feel like such a naive rube for even saying that out loud. And I hope you all aren't stupider for me saying it out loud. Okay. How's Paxton feeling right now? How's Ken Paxton feeling right now? King of Cups. Emotionally in control, emotionally out of control. Okay, maybe his lawyers are telling him to keep his emotions in control. I think he's angry. He's just angry. He's been kicked out. He's been kicked out, and he wants vengeance in an emotional sense. Not, this isn't going to be a bygones be bygones. This is going to be, I'm going to take down all the people who crossed me. And they talked about that in the article that I was looking at, that not only was the $3 million to reward Dan Patrick for bringing more conservatives in, it's also the type of money that Paxton's Super PAC could donate to candidates that would primary the Republicans who vote against Paxton. So this is all just dirty politics and money. What's underneath it? The Chariot. Things blasting forward. So, yeah, Paxton, if he gets through this case, he is going to steamroll his opponents. He absolutely is going to steamroll them. In the past, Five of Swords, winner takes all. Paxton he warned them that if they did this, he was going to fight dirty, and he was going to take heads. And that's what this is showing me, is that he intends that. He intends every bit to exact, got a pair of fives here, to exact his revenge on those who betrayed him. Current situation is the Page of Swords, threatening. He's getting the message out with with that $3 million payment to Dan Patrick and trying to intimidate him, because basically it's like, I bribed the judge. What are you going to do? Are you going to go on record and vote against me when you know that Dan Patrick is going to try and get me off? Is that where you want to play? Because I will absolutely steamroll your butt if you do that. But it's kind of it's an immature little play there. But here's the thing. And again, the article I read, Paxton back in 2021 or 2022 was talking to one of the district attorneys when he was the attorney general, and the district attorney left saying, "How does one tell somebody that that Paxton is crazy? He's absolutely crazy. This guy is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He, right now he's the King of Cups, but really he's the Page of Cups. He's kind of diminished by being impeached. It really took away his power." And this normally would have been a King of Swords as the Attorney General. It's a page. This would normally be the King of Cups up here. It's a Page of Cups. He's been greatly diminished because of this. The lesson to be learned are the agreements. We have to look at the agreements he made with Dan Patrick and what that makes. The agreements he made with money, or the agreements he can try and make with members of Congress to get out of this. Outcome, 7 of Wands, fighting but having the advantage. I think he obviously plans on fighting this, but he thinks he's going to win it. He does think he's going to win it. He thinks he's got the advantage on his side, and if he fights this charge off, because he's fought off lots of different charges, and he's come away squeaky clean, and he thinks he's got this one coming. He's got this one in the bag as well. Well, maybe not in the bag, but he's got a really good shot at beating this one too because of agreements that he's made. Not the least of which is giving $3 million to Dan Patrick, the Lieutenant Governor. I wonder what happens if Abbott suddenly dies and Patrick becomes the governor. Then you have a new Lieutenant Governor. You have to give that guy $3 million too? Okay, how will this impact the case? Is Paxton going to get off? Or will he be convicted? If things play out the way the energies are now, without, Greg Abbott dying and Dan Patrick moving out or something along those lines, assuming that the energies go with the most probable cause, what is going to happen in this case? Can Paxton... What will happen? Will he be convicted? Will he get off? Will he be exonerated? Sword of Justice crossed with the 6 Pentacles, with the bribery. I can't imagine they would just censor him. I like the fact that the Sword of Justice is a signifier, because that's about truth and justice. But it's also crossed with the bribery that's going on, for lack of a better description, and the continued bribery that's going on throughout the trial. So you've got truth versus money. That's what's on trial here. In the past, the 5 of Pentacles. This is, again, Paxton getting kicked out of office, being left out in the cold. We covered this one in that last reading, and it led him to, the chariot, wanting to steamroll his opponent. So in this case, in the past is when he was kicked out. What happens with this one? There's victory. Oh, dear. I'm kind of leaning that Paxton gets the victory. I don't think this is Texas that gets the victory. Let's see how this pans out. But there's going to be a victory here. So there will be a decision. Sudden endings. Maybe not. The Tower... Now, this is Paxton getting kicked out when he, maybe he thinks he's riding to victory. He's got this one, but something happens that takes him down. What is it? The Magician. Oh, God. How to translate that? Part of me, if Paxton were to get off, it's because he manifested it. He manifested a victory by his bribery. And he got that victory when he should have had a fall. But I tend to view the Tower card as impacting these two cards. The fall. Maybe Rusty Harden and the prosecuting lawyers work their magic to get the victory and bring Paxton down. That's being awfully optimistic. But the outcome is stealing, getting away with it. Oh, man. No, I think Paxton gets away with it. Paxton is not going to be convicted. This card right there is Paxton getting away with it. Again, because of money. I think that Paxton was supposed to go down with this. But I think his bribery is going to get him off. Now, this... I'm going to look very pained. I'm going to look very pained at you now, kind of like I did with a recent reading with that woman down south. At best, this is like, Paxton being told to pack up and leave. So that's a possibility. It's a possibility that they tell him to pack up, take his thieving butt and leave. Maybe that would be the more positive reading on that one. But then you've got, does he sneak off? Does he sneak up? Does he steal victory from the jaws of defeat? Okay, I'm gonna do one more read. My problem is I'm a little bit biased. I know Sterling did a reading on this one and saw Paxton getting off, and I'm trying not to agree with Sterling on that one because I know he's really good, and I want to be correct also. Know what I mean? Those are some pretty definitive cards. Okay. Plain and simple. Does Ken Paxton get convicted? Does Ken Paxton get convicted? Yes or no? Let's do some overhand shuffles here. See if anything wants to jump up. Does Ken Paxton get convicted? This one's kind of like it. Let's see. Yes or no? Does Ken Paxton get convicted? Wheel of Fortune. Fortune's Fate. If that were a karma card, the answer's got to be yes. To me, that's a yes card right there. Let's see what's underneath it. The Empress, the Judgment, Page of Cups. Yeah, King of Swords. Interesting. I think he... Okay, so I'm going to say that... I'm going to... After waffling through this whole reading, I think Paxton's going to get removed. I think Sterling might be wrong. I might differ in my opinion than Sterling. How about that? I won't say he's wrong. Just differing. I think that that in the end, I'm going to assume that the karmic card means that if Ken Paxton's been breaking the law, especially when you're supposed to be the AG breaking the law, that, karma would be that if you break the law, then the law is going to come break you, right? That's how I view karma. Now, if he, for some reason, does get removed, there's probably something bigger that comes for Paxton later on. But right now, the way I asked the question and the way the answer came and everything like that, I'm going to go on there and say that the way the energies look now, Ken Paxton will be found guilty and he will be removed from office. And the supporting cards would be like, the King of Swords, that the either the new AG or something happens that he's removed. I could certainly see that if Dan Patrick was removed and somebody who hadn't been paid $3 million was in there, this is, honestly, this is an open shut case. This is a really, really simple case. And maybe that's what all those burden cards were, because it's really obvious what Paxton's done. And to rule any other way shows incredible bias, especially when $3 million is thrown at you. Maybe the lieutenant governor resigns and takes his money and gets out, and then have somebody else in there. I'm not sure how this is going to play out, but the way it's looking right now, Paxton will be convicted and he will be removed. How that there might be some surprise that happens in there. It may not be with the current players in place. Okay, so that's my thoughts on Ken Paxton and Dan Patrick and the $3 million that Paxton threw to Dan Patrick's account. What a mess, man. Texas, you know, you and Florida are swapping beers. I tell you what. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the likes and the shares. And welcome to the new subscribers to the channel. Great to have you along for the ride. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.